Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and good evening, everyone. My name is AISAMUDDIN NAZRI as the moderator for this forum, and welcome to our program today. All right, then, let me introduce to all of you the main panels for our forum this evening, which are Ahmad Fadhil Hasif bin RAZID, a student council president in University of Science Islam Malaysia, USIM. How are you today, Mr. Fadil?
Okay, Mr. Asa, it's been an honor for me today to be here today also.
Okay. And and Mr. Muhammad Amirul Naim bin Muhammad KHAIRUL ANUAR, alumni from University of Science Malaysia, USM, as the second panel. How are you today, Mr. Naim?
Alhamdulillah, I great today.
Okay. Today we will be discussing a hot topic that is crucial nowadays, especially for the first year students, which is challenges of being a first year student and things that we have learned in the first year. Before we go through deeper into this discussion, we must know who is these first year students that we meant. The subject we will be discussing is the first year students in higher education, like diploma and degree students, who are freshly graduated from secondary schools. More specifically, we will be discussing the problems these students face to fit in this new environments of study, which is different from when they are teenage, according to their maturity, self-esteem, and study materials. These issues are commonly happening, especially when we meet new friends who come from abroad, even before the pandemic COVID-19 spread. Okay, without more ado, let us open the first question for our first panel. Mr. Fadil, can you give your opinions on this issue?
Alright, thank you, Mr. Asa, for the question. Alright, so basically, when you choose to study at university, financial commitment is very important and a major substance to sustain. It is a challenge that most undergraduates will face in their first year. These factors have been related to financial difficulties resulting from the scrapping of student grants and the introduction of tuition fees. Undergraduates have the option to apply for student finance or to borrow from their parents. This will certainly add more pressure on students, especially on those for lower income backgrounds. Students from low income backgrounds do have the opportunity to apply for grants like PTPTN, but this will not cover all of their expenses. Financial stress among college students is one of the issues that they face not only during the first year but throughout college. It won't be an exaggeration to say that total finance will let you have a total life. So it is best to begin by getting your expenses from the very beginning. And eating out every day takes a toll on the expenditure. Buying groceries and cooking food at your student apartment will not only save you some bucks, but it's also a step toward a healthier lifestyle. Don't hesitate to back up on fancy dinners if your budget doesn't allow, as it will help you reduce your financial stress. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fadil. We go to our second panel. Mr. Naim, what is your opinion on this issue?
Thank you, Mr. AISAMUDDIN. In my opinion, diverse in the classroom could be most challenges part of being a first year student in the university. First of all, we need to understand what is diversity. Diversity means a combination of different social backgrounds, races, cultures, ethnicity, gender, religion, and different languages. We can say that diversity in the classroom can be a culture shock to students, especially when they first enroll in the university. In Malaysia, we have such a unique things that didn't have in any other countries around the globe, which is diversity. We have a lot of different races like Malay, Chinese, Indian, and more. But why diversity still can be the most challenging part of being a first year student? The problem is in our country, we still have a system where schools that teach in specific languages and races. That's why it will be challenges for the students to communicate and discuss in diverse group of students. Local students also might face difficulty of diversity in the classroom when they have a foreign student or lecturer in their classes. That's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Naim and Mr. Fadil. Mr. Fadil has mentioned about the uh, money problem been that been that have been a problem to the students, which they have to lend their money from PTPTN, and their budget is not quite enough to spend for their daily life. That's a big thing for me. And Mr. Naim has said about the diverse in our classroom, which we have different races, different religions, and different nationality from others. That mainly been distracting to communicate with each other. That uh, that problem is really crucial for the first year students. Okay. For me, about the problems that I see from the first year students are the distractions of their surrounding. In these days, there are so many external stimuli that it's little wonders that many students feel distracted. Social media, friends, phones, television, video games, and outings are all that have been playing parts to wreaking havoc on student ability to focus on their study. So, okay, okay, Mr. Fadil, could you tell me what we can learn in our first year in the university?
Alright. In my opinion, uh, as you all know, students these days have so much time on their plates that they need to get multiple tasks in a short period of time. Wouldn't be wrong to say that students are multitasking genius, but we all have 24 hours only. Based on my experience, if I can pass only one piece of advice, is to tell you the most important skill you'll ever learn is time management. This is a skill you will need for almost everything you do. So, time management for college students is a skill that they need to master. First thing first, keep in mind that you should not compromise your sleep. Listing down all the things you have lined up every week will make it a smooth day. The easiest time management strategy for students is to make a time weekly task calendar and add things to it every Sunday. Productivity can make you feel super happy and light. From school to co-op to school, being good at managing your time is really important. For fun, I found making a very detailed iCalendar or Google Calendar or even physical planner is super helpful at keeping me on track. I put everything for my class, study time, work session, coffee days, and everything in between in my calendar. It helps me make my to-do list for the day and keeps me on top of my assignment and class. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fadil. Uh, Mr. Naim, before this, you said about the diversity in our classroom, right?
Yes, Mr. Aisam.
Can you give specific details on the matter?
Thank you, Mr. Aisam. I will tell you a bit detail about the diversity in the classroom. The challenge that will occur because of the diversity in the classroom could be a clash of opinion. As we know, students will have different values and beliefs. There might be disagreement among the students regarding their ideas and opinion. This may cause difficulty to the teachers in continuing with the class effectively. Students also will face a lot of difficulties to adapt with this kind of atmosphere and environment for the first time as they lack experience dealing with problems related to diversity in the classroom. The difference in interest also can be one of the challenges part of diversity in the classroom. In the classroom, there is no guarantee that all learners will be interested in the same subject. They may have different preferences and interests, so not all learners may be able to pay the same level of attention and deliver a good academic performance. Students may find it difficult to reach a consensus in their they have their own preferences and interests that can lead to to different answer or conclusion. The language that should be used in the classroom may also cause some conflict as there may be learners who speak different languages. For local students, it might be easy to communicate with each other even though they come from different races. As we Malaysian must know how to speak Malay language as our country language. But it difference when you have a foreign student in your class. Students may need to speak in English language to communicate with them, and it will be difficult for local students who are not fluent in English. That's why, in my opinion, diversity in the classroom could be the most challenging part of being a first year student in university. That's all from me.
Okay, Mr. Naim. Okay, from Mr. Fadil, he said about the thing that we learned from our first year in university is time management. So for me, what we learned from our first year in the university is the communication skills. Communication skills are an important skill that has been taught in our first year of study, and it will be going through and in every SEMS for these terms. uh, this is because the communication skills are a crucial one that have to be prepared for students for their future jobs. It is important for someone to learn to speak rationally and considering others, also be informative in what they are speaking, so that everyone who hear what we said will will understand. For in conclusion, before we close our forum this evening, indeed every problems does happen to every individual, like a scientist, father, and even a student. In this forum, we have learned three challenges that been in the first year students' mind nowadays, which is financial problems, financial problems, and diversity in their classroom, and also in distractions of their surrounding. These three things be will have to be counted for for the students and face it to solve it. For these three main challenges, I can give three effective tips to solve it. For the first one is make a plan. Drawing a study plan helps you find a balance that you are comfortable with and also help in developing good study habits and establish good study routines which ensure that all subjects are studied. Hence, it is important to have an effective timetable to help you manage the time that you spend on each subject. Second one is visualize big. It can be easy to let yourself think small because of the fear of failure, even the fear of making a decision. But to accomplish great things in life, you have to be open to risk, to take risks. With with whatever challenges may arise, always think that dream, always think and dream big. That way, you will achieve more than you could have ever imagined. Try not to let your thoughts get in your mind. The last one is help others. Helping others is not only good for them and a good thing to do, but it is also make us happier and healthier too. Giving also connects us to others, creating stronger community and helping to build a happier society for everyone. And it's not all about money. We can also give our time, energy, and ideas. If we overcome all these problems, we can perfectly guide what we have to learn in our university. Like what Mr. Father said about the thing that we learn, which is the time management. That is important, uh, not only in our study, also in our job. And from from me, that is a communication skill, which is also crucial to be mastered to ease our ourselves to communicate with others. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.